Today, I'm going to walk you through what I believe to be one of the most important stories about Bitcoin so far this year. Welcome back to the Bitcoin Layer. This is a Bloomberg article titled Blackrock Teams Up with Coinbase in Crypto Market Expansion. Now, I'm going to read you some key parts to this article as well as give you my reaction. BlackRock is partnering with Coinbase to make it easier for institutional investors to manage and trade Bitcoin, taking the world's largest asset manager into a cryptocurrency market hammered by plunging prices and government investigation. Of course, Bloomberg has to throw in the bear market here to the positive news about the industry. Top BlackRock clients will be able to use its Aladdin investment management system to oversee their exposure to Bitcoin along with other portfolio assets such as stocks and bonds, and to facilitate financing and trading on Coinbase's exchange, according to a statement Thursday. The focus of the partnership with Coinbase, the biggest U.S. crypto trading platform, will initially be on Bitcoin, BlackRock said. Now, let's pause to talk about two things here. Number one, Aladdin. What is Aladdin? Aladdin is one of the most popular asset management platform softwares across the entire landscape. So we're talking about trillions of dollars under management that use this Aladdin software to track portfolios and basically give portfolio managers all their analytics. Now, being able to track Bitcoin inside Aladdin is not really that exciting of news. The exciting part here for the industry is that BlackRock will now connect Aladdin with the Coinbase platform to give those clients access to buy Bitcoin and even finance Bitcoin purchases using Coinbase Pro, the Coinbase exchange platform. Now, this is really massive news because if we think about the typical portfolio manager that uses Aladdin, that portfolio manager likely doesn't have a Coinbase account for their client. Now, that portfolio manager will be able to allocate to Bitcoin through the Coinbase platform on Aladdin, directly on Aladdin. This potentially opens the floodgates for a lot of investment demand for Bitcoin that didn't previously exist. Now, I'm always cautious to celebrate all this institutional adoption as it doesn't necessarily translate immediately into a higher Bitcoin price. But what it does is it gives investors that previously would not have allocated to Bitcoin because of their current software limitations, now they have that ability to. And we're not talking about a small amount of money. We're talking about trillions of dollars under management that use this Aladdin platform. The second thing to point out here is that the initial connectivity to Coinbase will only allow for Bitcoin purchases. This comes back to the idea that Bitcoin and the rest of cryptocurrency are not the same thing, as many cryptocurrencies not named Bitcoin are very likely to be registered securities in the eyes of the SEC. Bitcoin has avoided certain regulatory oversight because there is no center for Bitcoin. There is no company that can be subpoenaed here, unlike many of these cryptocurrencies. Coinbase is facing a probe by the US SEC into whether the company let Americans trade digital assets that should have been registered as securities. BlackRock chose to partner with Coinbase because of its scale in the market and role in providing trading, custody services, prime brokerage, and reporting capabilities. Now, let's talk really quickly about the SEC. The SEC is looking at cryptocurrencies and thinking that many of these projects are registered securities and not a commodity like Bitcoin. This means that BlackRock will keep a lot of these potentially out of its platform and focus only on Bitcoin, as Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency with the regulatory certainty that it is not a security. One other thing to highlight here is Coinbase's prime brokerage. This is another way of saying that Coinbase lends money for positions to its clients. So if an investment manager wants to use Aladdin, buy Bitcoin using borrowed money, it might be able to use Coinbase's platform to do that. Now, here's one more part of the article that talks about that regulatory certainty. The regulatory risks from the partnership are manageable because it's starting with Bitcoin, which has clearer regulatory status in Washington than other digital assets, said Oppenheimer and Company analyst Owen Lau, who has the equivalent of a buy rating on Coinbase shares. The announcement shows sophisticated investors are growing more comfortable with the crypto market. And let's talk about this word sophisticated. This is Bloomberg's way of saying that investors with hundreds of billions of dollars to allocate, that doesn't mean that they're smarter than retail investors. It just means that they have a lot more money to allocate. And this move of Aladdin partnering with Coinbase is evidence that portfolio managers with hundreds of billions of dollars to allocate have made a request to BlackRock. Please make us have access to Bitcoin purchases through Aladdin. And BlackRock is responding. Institutional investors accounted for about 3/4 of the $309 billion in trading volume on Coinbase in the first quarter, the company disclosed in May. Coinbase clients include hedge funds, corporate treasuries, and asset managers. Now, we are seeing here, again, more institutional adoption of Bitcoin. We see that corporate treasuries are using Coinbase itself. The Aladdin connectivity is going to give a whole slew of portfolio managers access to Bitcoin that have never had access to this new digital asset. And we can see the optimism from BlackRock and Coinbase in their last quote in this article. The Coinbase partnership between BlackRock and Aladdin is an exciting milestone for our firm, said the head of Coinbase Institutional. We are committed to pushing the industry forward and creating new access points as institutional crypto adoption continues to rapidly accelerate. Notice they always say crypto to hedge their bet, but the press release does specify that Bitcoin is going to be the only product available at the start of this Aladdin connectivity. The key takeaway from this article is that Bitcoin adoption will increase due to Aladdin connecting with Coinbase. Aladdin is a software that trillions of dollars under management are using. When Coinbase is connected with Aladdin, this will definitely give investors that have never allocated to Bitcoin before the opportunity to get involved, get their allocation off of zero, and turn their traditional 60-40 portfolio, which means 60% stocks, 40% bonds. They will turn that portfolio into 60% stocks, 30% bonds, and 10% Bitcoin, for example. This will increase the aggregate demand of Bitcoin over the next several years and will definitely contribute to an increased market value and market size for Bitcoin. Thanks for sticking with me on this edition of the Bitcoin Layer. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and give us any questions in the comments below on what you would like us to cover next. I want to thank my sponsors, Zebedee and Voltage. Zebedee is a Lightning Network Bitcoin company focused on getting Lightning Network powered video games into the market. Voltage is a company focused on building Bitcoin and Lightning Network infrastructure. So if you're interested in getting your own node, contact Voltage and see what they can do for you.